I think this is the 4th week that I have a cough while I'm filming. I saw a parrot doing a song on Instagram and it was the cutest thing. And he was like, bom, 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 bom. No, that's me making it up. What was he doing? Anyways, it's quite impressive. And he was like proper landing on the, you know, the 4th beat. And I'm like, how? Like, how? It's so cute. So I come here today to help you heal your inner scars. What? Perfect healing of your inner scars. The reason why I said perfect healing is because technically nobody knows how to heal themselves apart from people who know, but we don't know that they do it, and they don't know that we don't know that they do it, therefore we don't think nobody does it. Anyways, the reason why I say perfect is because it is a bit difficult to heal your scars. Technically it's impossible to heal your scars because scars are forever. Mind you, my scar from when I was a kid, it's really faint. Okay, it's not faint, it's still there. I know that, like, obviously my operation scar is like way too big for that to ever go down, but I was talking about my like childhood ones. Nope, they're still there. I have scars everywhere. No, I don't. Huh? So, inner scars. Well, I think the reason why I came and I wanted to do this video was because, like, I do feel like our scars, they like kind of hold us back in life, and they kind of like dictate like how we behave and how we take things in, or the choices that we make, or the way that we think. Like, our scars and things that have scarred us in the past, they kind of maneuver us and help maneuver us. And actually, when I was like making my perfect list of everything, like my perfect home, my perfect work, my perfect career, my perfect life, my perfect love, I also made a list of the perfect healing, because I was like, because actually that was like one of the most important things to me at the time, because I didn't care about anything else. Like, how am I ever going to feel okay? God, fast forward 6 months and here I am feeling okay. Like, and I couldn't see past the pain, and I couldn't see like why would I have all of these other things in life but then I don't have this? And so then this was like really important to me, and then I wrote this like list of like how healing would look like. And actually, as I was writing it, I think I wrote it in tears because of how angry I was that I wasn't there, and how impossible it looked like as I was writing them down. Because, and actually I'm gonna go to that list now. Let me finish what I'm saying first, and then I'll go to the list. It just felt impossible, because actually the things on my list is to do with the things that people say are impossible now. Anyways, let me not skip ahead. Let me just go through my talking notes, right? Because what even are scars? Because that's a metaphorical thing, obviously, because we don't have emotional scars unless we have emotional scars. Can you imagine if there's like an energy field? I know that people probably already know this, and they're already like, Nayna, this is already discovered, like this is a thing, but we don't learn these things in school. We don't talk about it on the news. So how do you expect me to know those things? I went to school in 2000 and stuff. 2003 I finished school. When I edit myself back, I realized that I have a bit of an aggressive eye sometimes. Aggressive eyes when I get angry and I get frustrated and I don't like it, so I'm gonna try my best to not do those eyes. Anyway, so what is even scars? Basically, scars, which is a metaphor, which I otherwise... Yes, I was talking about the invisible body and how like maybe we do have scars and some energy. Like, you know when you get hurt and you just have a scar and it goes... and then it's just like, ow! Because like technically what hurts? Why does it hurt? Like, is it like this like energy that goes and it trickles into your heart and then it goes boom and then you're like, ow! Like, what is actually emotional pain? Like, what is that? And why does your body feel it? Like, for example, if somebody says, Nayna, I don't want to be with you anymore. Why does that then translate into ouch? Why can't that translate into something else? I don't understand what emotional pain is right now. Like, how does emotional pain happen? And who's in charge of it? Who created that feeling? Because it's like, I must create all feelings, so how did I create that feeling? Anyways, I'm getting myself lost here, because what I'm saying is that basically we have these things that happen in life and they disappoint us, and when something disappoints us deeply, like deeply, then we call those things emotional scars, inner scars, because something has affected us so much that it has left some type of scar. And the reason why we call them scars is because they either continue to affect us, even though the situation has passed, they continue to affect us. So I continue to be hurt, I continue to think about that, I continue to feel rubbish about this situation. So either because they still affect us, or they were such a big thing that it made us turn a completely new direction, a completely new experience, and then those scars kind of like highlight those changes because something really bad happened. But unfortunately, these things are things that happen that are bad, and then they highly disappoint us, and it makes us go ouch, and then We have a scar about something that somebody did. Could you ever have a scar about something that somebody didn't do? No, as in like nobody was involved apart from you. I guess so. Like for example, if you're alone all the time and then you have all these thoughts about how much of a loner you are and oh my gosh, I'm so alone. And if you do that for so long and then you come out of that space, I guess then that would be a scar of like, I was alone for so long and I felt so rubbish about myself for so long. So I guess that could be an inner scar of something that was done all by yourself. Technically, the absence of other people is not by yourself. I don't know what. Anyway, so inner scars are accumulated through disappointments in life. Hey, I love you, you love me. Sorry, I don't love you anymore. What? Ouch. Hey, I'm your best friend. Oh, actually, I'm not gonna be your best friend anymore and I'm gonna talk to everybody about your business and I'm gonna tell everybody everything that you said to me. Ouch. What other scars are there? Hey, I love you, mum. Well, I don't love you. Get out of my room now. Ouch. Mum, I wanna be a singer. Well, you have a rubbish voice. Go and get a real job. Get out. Ouch. Oh no. These things are all done through each other. And then we accumulate these scars and then they get in our way of life. So I know that there are more like different scars out there and I'm really sorry that I'm not going through them. And so then I guess with the scars and the reason why they affect us now until today and why we call them scars is because we're kind of scared that anything like that will ever happen again. So then we guide ourselves and we train ourselves and we put ourselves in positions where we will not be affected once again, ever again by the same situation, nor by the same replication. Of the situation. And so then I will protect myself from you, from anybody, from all scars. This is never happening again. And actually this scar, you're gonna stay there and I'm gonna look at you and I'm not gonna let you ever hurt me again. And we become obsessed about our scars and then it kind of like drives our behavior and our decisions based on things that have disappointed us in the past. Anyway, so then I guess in this life of perfection that I wish for, I guess we would be free from anything holding us back. And I feel like scars hold us back, either in a good way or a bad way, in terms of like, you know, I chopped off my finger and therefore that's never happening again. And I feel like, okay, that's a good one, you know, never do that again. But then sometimes scars make us do things and oops. Sometimes scars make us not do things ever again, but it's not a correct thing, you know? So I feel like the goal is to actually heal all your scars, metaphorically, because I want to learn to heal real scars. Do I? I don't know. I don't care about scars, so I don't need to heal them. I think they're quite pretty. Is my scar pretty? No. Not when I turn my leg, but when I bend my leg, it's pretty. But if I straighten my leg and I like turn it a little bit, it doesn't look that pretty. But I don't care enough to heal it. I don't care enough about it. It's not making me, I don't know, when you care about something, you think about it. I don't think about my scars. Anyway, so then I think that the goal is to actually get rid of these scars because I do feel like scars hold us back and they guide us in ways that are not to our full potential, to our full possibilities, because we are scared of things hurting us and we are scared and we are careful because of past scars, and I do feel like we should heal them. Especially in my situation, I have like a lot of scars that I could discuss here, yeah, that I feel like they're kind of like disappearing, and I feel like it's so important that they go away for me to be able to be happy. For example, yeah, I don't mean to put anybody on blast here, not that my family watch these videos, yeah. Somebody in my family continuously called me ugly when I was a kid. What? And they called me a monster all the time. And I promise you that I grew up believing that I was ugly and that I was a monster. And actually, when people started calling me pretty in school, I felt like there was something wrong with them. I felt like, well, there's something wrong here, because why you keep calling me pretty? And then I started getting it more and more, and then I was just like, I don't understand, and I didn't understand. And actually now, the relationship that I have to prettiness is it's actually a very, very complex relationship that I have with prettiness. But for the most part, I actually just ignore the fact that I have a face, and I ignore the fact that I'm actually alive. And then when I do remember, I kind of try to like celebrate it. But okay, so what I'm saying is that was an inner scar that had occurred as a child, right? And I grew up thinking the things that I thought back then. But those things made me be insecure, right? So then if people called me pretty, the first thing I'll do is just like, oh, leave me alone. Or I don't know, if like I had a boyfriend and then a pretty girl would walk by, I'd be like, well, obviously he's gonna love her, so I'm gonna break up with him because obviously she exists. friends. And so then I became very, very difficult. And then, like, for example, I felt like as a kid, I would pack my bags and I'm like, I'm leaving because, you know, you need to find us a new family. I don't like this family and I'm leaving. And I just wanted my mum to like listen to me and to like start a new life somewhere and take me with her. And she wouldn't listen to me. And I was there like packing my bags and I'm like, I'm leaving. And I just remember this pain in my chest as I walked out of the house, and my mum was like, all right, bye. And she just didn't care. Well, obviously she was playing a game with me because she knew that I wouldn't leave.
Wow.
But that behavior again scarred me, because then I started doing that to adult men. I started to be like, well, if you don't make this better right now, and then you don't make me feel better right now because I'm hurt, and if you don't do nothing about that, I'm leaving. And then I'll leave, and then they'll come running after me. And it was just such an unhealthy way to live, like to threat people with your absence because they're hurting your feelings. That's what I did with my mum, and then I ended up growing up doing that with boys. All of them. And if you don't jump my hoops, I'm leaving. And yes, when I get home after I left you, I will cry, but it doesn't matter because you didn't do as I told you to do.
Wow.
These are scars, and they affect your behavior. And I feel like for us to be great people, we need to not behave through scars. We need to behave through freedom of understanding. Anyway, which leads me to the point, right, of like perfect healing. Sorry, my light, I need to change it, but I need to order the batteries, because when you get them on eBay, they're just cheaper, even though I don't know if they last as long, but they're just cheaper. And so then the point that I'm making here is that, like, I think all of healing, perfect healing, begins with information. Actually, all problem solvers begins with information, because I feel like when we understand things, yeah, we resolve them. And if you can't resolve them, that means that you don't have enough information, yeah. And I was thinking of this analogy of like, if something is wrong, yeah, and there's this like massive fire, the more information you put, the more the fire will go out. And then the information is the water and the fire is the problem, right? And if you put like little bits of information, it just like makes the fire go bigger and it makes the problem go worse, because you're not given enough information. But if you overload the person with information, that water will just literally put out the fire. So I feel like we get angry and we get frustrated and we get confused because there is not enough information for us to make sense of what it is that is going on. And technically, unfortunately, humans do this on purpose. Like, they keep things back because they're scared, or they want to miss that out because they don't really want to say it and they don't really want to tell you. And this type of behavior is little trickles of water, and that would annoy anybody who's having a problem or who has a scar, especially if you're talking about like, I think that all men cheat, and then I get with this guy and then now it's starting to flare up in me. I think you're gonna cheat on me. I think we should break up. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna cheat on you. But then the information that you ask of him to, you know, to put your mind at ease, like, he's giving you trickle bits of it. Oh, not really answering questions properly. And so therefore the water is not enough to put out the fire, and actually the water is just enough to irritate the fire even more. And that's what it does, and that's what we're all doing. And so then overload of information and transparency, I think, will heal all things. And that's the first point on my perfect healing list, is that I understand what happened in all things. So why did God not answer me? Why was God silent the day that I gave birth to my son? Why did God do this? Why did God do that? And if I had the answers to all of these things, I wouldn't be upset, because I'd have the answers. And actually what keeps me upset is because I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know where God went. I don't know what happened. So perfect healing begins with understanding exactly what happened. And actually, if I ever broke somebody's heart, I know I keep going back to heartbreak, but I feel like a lot of people's scars are through heartbreak and people's behaviors. I'd feel like if I cheated, I would literally overload that person with as much information as they want, even though it pains me, because when we do something that hurts other people, it is embarrassing. Like, we do feel like a rubbish person. We do try to cover that up. But if I did that, I would own it, and I'd be like, yes, I did that. And the more information I give you, the faster you're gonna get past this. And the more I like look after myself, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to make myself a bad person, therefore let me not tell you that. The more I do that for myself, even though I'm already bad, so why am I doing that? I might as well just be fully bad and help that person. But no, I'm being selfish. I don't want to help that person. I want to help the little dignity I have left of myself. What for, when your dignity is already ruined, right? So then you might as well help that person get past the damage that you have caused. So therefore, I would overload them with all information. And I know, like, some things get petty, but if that's what your brain wants to know, that's what your brain wants to know, right? Oh, did you enjoy her kissing? I did. Was she better than me? She was. I can't believe she was better than me. How can you say that? And breathe.
No.
because that's your truth, right? And now she can't go home and obsess over the fact that, does she kiss better than me? I bet she kisses better than me. Oh, but she can't kiss better than me because I kiss better. But why? Because you told her straight she kisses better than you. Therefore, she does not go home and obsess over that because she knows the painful truth already. Anyways, I'm getting so carried away with all this like cheating stuff because I know that scars like really do get built from stuff like that. Anyway, so let's move on. So then understand what happened fully. And then here's the other impossible thing that I want to happen is understand what life is fully, because technically there will be no scars if you really understood what life is fully, because you just like, I don't know, you'd be like, oh, that person said this and that, and then you'd stop because it doesn't hurt your feelings because you understand what life is, and that person just did that and that's that. It's like, oh, he did that because of this, because of that. See, understanding makes everything normal.
Yeah.
Impossible and fine. Anyway, so then we move on to getting past the scars and actually into the healing process of how that looks like. And I do have a whole fairy tale of how that looks like. And this is where I had my tears because I couldn't imagine how this looked like. But I've written here to embrace a better life. Because back then, I didn't want to embrace a better life. I wanted to die and that's all that I wanted. I couldn't ever imagine myself embracing life. And I guess there was this little image of like, but how would it look like if life was different? And that would be a better life. And then if it's a better life, then you'd be able to embrace that better life and you'd live it. You wouldn't be living this, you'd be living that. And I guess that's how I was able to write these things down, because I was able to picture it, but I couldn't ever imagine living it. Whereas now I'm actually kind of starting to live it. Where I'm embracing this better life. And then you have to forgive the downfall. Like, damn. And again, through information, there's nothing much to forgive. There's only things to understand. And it's not even about forgiving. Actually, in this world, it is about forgiving because people have different types of minds. Because I just realized that I guess when people do things wrong to me, I really try my hardest not to hold a grudge. So actually, if I come to understand it, it wouldn't be about forgiving. It would be about, oh, that's why you did that. Oh, but I wouldn't have to sit there and kind of go like, oh, I'll forgive you. Because then that would mean then that I sat there and said like, I hate you. You'd never be forgiven for this. And I really try not to do things like that in my head. And I have done it towards my family.
What?
But I really try my hardest not to do that. In this world, people do that. So therefore, we do have to forgive the downfall. And we forgive the downfall by having more information.
Oops.
By having more information. Oh, that's why you did that. Oh, I see. Oh God, I reacted really badly for something that now I understand. Well, now I have more information. So now, God, why did I react that badly? Oh, and then you have the conversation, right? And that's when you forgive the downfall. And for me, it was a downfall rather than a scar, because I just went down and I fell because God wouldn't talk to me. Sorry, my card got full. I need to order a new card. I don't even know where I left off or what I was saying. I was going through my list and basically letting go of the pain and the suffering, I guess, is an important part of the process. And actually to understand it and why it happened is an important thing. But in my case, like, because I want to understand God and I want to understand life in the way that seems a bit impossible right now, then I know that these steps are a bit more difficult than for people who are dealing with like human stuff or like human behaviors and stuff like that, where you can go to somebody and get all the questions, whereas my one's a little bit more difficult. So for the sake of my survival, I do stay away from like the whys, and actually most of these points I stay away from them now, because it's like I have to be able to be okay regardless if I have these answers or not, right? And that's why I think I called it perfect healing, because in a perfect world all of these things will be possible. But actually what I had was not understanding, more information. And actually what I had was the idea that I wanted to heal. I want to heal. And then I started to realize the whole negative and positive thing, and then I started choosing the positive. And because I robustly kept choosing the positive, like all these scars and all these things that kept coming up without understanding them much, I just started to just change them and say, well, no, you're not ugly. And actually, I'm gonna start calling you pretty. And every time I look at you in the mirror, I'm gonna be like, you're so pretty. Why? Because you need to learn that. Why? Because you think you're ugly and that holds you back in life, Nayna. And so then we're not gonna call you ugly anymore. Not that I ever called myself ugly, it was just because I don't talk to myself like that. This little secret in the head, you're not very pretty. And so then I got rid of that, and I get rid of things in my head without really understanding them, and technically I do, because I think a lot, but because I think them doesn't mean that they're true. So you let go of the pain and the suffering, you let go of the people that called you ugly, you let go of the people that said that you can't sing and that you shouldn't sing, you let go of everybody, and actually technically I am understanding more, because I am understanding that people are just weird and they're mean. I don't know why we're mean. Like even me, I get a bit mean. If I get hurt, I get mean. But I don't understand why. Maybe it's just like lack of knowledge knowledge. Like what right world would you call somebody ugly and a monster, and then that would go on and affect them for like decades? In what world would you do that? And so then I don't understand the world properly, and anyways.
Wow.
And if so, once you started healing, you start to understand, you know, how all of this is working now. Like, oh my gosh, this is how healing happens, and you start to let it all go. And then the next step to perfect healing is to help other people do the same, and go and help them with your knowledge and help them with your experience, and just keep out your eye on things and kind of. And actually, I wonder what the best way to advise people is. Like, do you come with them like, oh, I did this, or do you straight up say, I think you should do that? Because I have a tendency not to tell people what to do, because I don't like when people tell me what to do. So instead of like saying to them like, oh, I think that you should do this, I always say like, when I was in that similar situation, I did this, and this is how it worked out for me. But I do feel like that approach kind of like annoys some people, and I only ever do that so I can give them an example of like how they can fix their situation. But people never go for it. Like, they're always like, oh, that was you, that's not me. Oh, you're different. And maybe I should be a bit more bold and should just be like, I think you should do this. Maybe my approach is wrong all this time, because I don't think people listen when you're like, I did this. Anyway, so then when you help others, that also in turn helps you, because you gain even more perspective, you gain even more. Like, for example, I saw somebody doing something that I did so many times, and it looked hella bad and ugly, and it's like, no, I behaved like that in all of my relationships, and now I'm witnessing somebody else do it, and I could feel her feelings. I'm like, yeah, I know what you're feeling. Yeah, right, I need to stop recording because I've been recording for so long. So anyways, you help others do the same, you enjoy your new life because your old life and your old scars are behind you now. You understand everything, the why, the how, the whats, the ifs, the buts, the maybes. You understand them, and then even then you look at yourself and you say to yourself, I deserve the best. I deserve the best. So if somebody once did look at you and they said to you, I think you're ugly, I cheated on you because you can't have sex. Sorry, I know that was just the worst one. It just came into my head, so it was the worst one, I'm sorry. Anyway, so then somebody said that to you, right? Ah, ouch, it hurts, I'm never gonna have sex again. Oh my God, how can I ever have sex again? Right, so you go through all of that, right? And it scars you like, ouch, ouch, right? But then you realize, actually, people have different opinions, people have different preferences. And actually, if I was courageous enough to quickly go and have sex with somebody else, to see what they had to say about me, to see if they had like, because to see if they have a similar response or a similar, you know, or maybe I should go and have sex with 5 guys, find out this. And if you had the courage to do that, and if you wasn't a whore and you wasn't scared of doing things like that, then you would find out that technically that one guy feels that way about you, but the others don't. And actually, technically, humans are a little bit frivolous and a little bit like, and so therefore you should just not take what they say seriously. And I know that's difficult, because like, if you have a CEO to your company, like, you have to take what they say seriously. But I guess in a supportive way, and in a productive way, and in an empowering way, then yes, you can take what people say seriously. But if it doesn't empower you and actually causes you scars and you're like, ouch, then maybe we shouldn't take those things as facts, and we should, because I feel like everything can be improved and everything can be better. So if you're bad at sex, then you could go and learn. But I know that some things are coming into my head where they're not fixable, and there are scars and they're not fixable. Like, for example, I have something wrong with me and it's not fixable, and that has caused a scar, and that person said that to me. But I bet you it's still the same concept, because I bet if you just went to another person, they wouldn't care about that same thing. Like, for me, I need this to be this way, but that person doesn't need that to be that way. Therefore, I'm going to complain about that, but that person won't complain about that because they don't care. So therefore, you need to go and find the people that don't care, so you don't get insulted by your existence. And again, if you have knowledge about that, like, oh, is that how life works? I don't know why life works like that, but okay. So, and then you go and find your tribe where they support you and they accept you, rather than these people that make you feel rubbish. So you understand everything, the why, the who, the what, and then you live as I'm so silly. I'm reading from my list, I don't even know what I'm reading, because in the last point it says, then I will live as my soul and I will live as God. And it's like, Nayna, what? Why did you put that there? And you could tell that I added that like way later. Anyway, so as I'm living as my soul and as God, then all things are healed anyway. So why could we just jump to that? So this is how you heal yourself. Live as your soul, live as God. All right, bye. Instead of everything that I just spoke about. Lord Jesus. Okay, I know I keep saying Lord Jesus. I don't know why, because he's my idol, but I don't know about the Lord part, because I don't know what he did. Everyone says different things about Jesus. You know, I don't think I would have fancied him either. Yeah, but if I didn't fancy him, how would I have admired him? Because I just feel like when we admire people, we kind of fancy them. Have I ever admired somebody that I don't fancy? Yeah, I have. Somebody who's gay. Have I ever admired somebody who's not gay and that I have not fancied? Yeah, but I kind of secretly fancy them for a second. Even if it's just a second, I'm like, oh. And then that's it, because they're not impressing me anymore. The moment's gone by, so then I don't fancy them anymore.
Wow.
This is so confusing, this fancying stuff. I want to admire somebody who I don't fancy. I want to admire them. Like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. I don't fancy you though, but you're so amazing. What if they're not my type in the face and they do something that's like really... I get carried away and I'm going to stop. Sorry if I had to leave some of the coughing in there because it just comes out of nowhere and I'm like mid-sentence. Until next time, I shall be back with more videos, and I hope that I have helped you in your healing process of healing your scars. And I hope I made you understand that you can alchemize them into dust and then they won't be there anymore. And then you'd be free like you're supposed to be and live as your soul like you're supposed to be. All right, all the best to you and your healing, and until next time, okay, I said that. Goodbye.